Hi everyone. Obviously all of this is said and recorded with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek and look, goodwill at heart, absolutely. But I'm really having one obvious and massive issue with Final Fantasy XIV that I'd like to discuss with all of you in this video. If you're new here, hello again, I'm Gyro, welcome to my channel. I've immigrated to Final Fantasy XIV from World of Warcraft a few weeks ago and have been loving pretty much everything about the game so far, with the highlight of my experience being, unsurprisingly, the much better, a lot more warm, welcoming and friendly and less toxic community. I love you guys and girls. I feel like I have been in the game long enough now to not just have the initial kind of happy gushing impressions that I've been mostly sharing with my audience so far, but also have a couple of issues that have been persistent enough for me to notice them and not to ignore them and needing to talk about them. So today I would like to discuss that, honestly, without buttering anything up. This video is intended to be for everyone, WoW refugees and to my new friends, veterans of Final Fantasy XIV, but I'd like to stress the point that mainly it is still directed at my fellow WoW refugees, because I feel a bit like a vocal test subject, so to speak, who experiences Final Fantasy XIV and then reports on his findings, truthfully, as it comes, good for good, bad for bad, potentially saving the other World of Warcraft immigrants the stress and frustration from certain game mechanics, ways this game is being played, or, as in this case, the quality of service that we may or may not be basically subscribing for. After expressing my thoughts, I will also tell you in this video what I'm planning to do about it. Cool? Alright. Well, as you figured out already from the thumbnail and the first initial few minutes of this video, one massive issue that I'm having with this game right now is how horrible, inexcusably horrible, the server and data center lag is for those of us in Oceanic region. I'm talking Australia and probably New Zealand mostly, but probably it affects also some parts of Asia that are not close to Japan. And yes, before you start telling me that they have promised Oceanic service sometime after Endwalker expansion launches, thank you once again. I heard about it multiple times already, and this knowledge was the main reason why I still went ahead and actually purchased Endwalker expansion as described to you in the other video, rather than keep sitting on the fence of the free trial. Still, while being in the game right now, the horrible server performance is more and more visible and annoying to me as a WoW refugee, as any newcomer to Final Fantasy XIV. That's what you have to understand. Because I'm used to paying for a more stable service and having higher responsiveness and playability of the game generally, whatever it is, FIFA 2021 on Xbox, World of Warcraft, anything else, substituted with whatever else you want to substitute it with. I know some Final Fantasy XIV keepers will just not like this topic and me criticizing anything, whether it's constructive or not, but as soon as anything is wrong with Final Fantasy XIV in the opinion of a newcomer, it deserves bashing and it deserves like, Gyro, we don't like you anymore. It's up to you how you react to this, but let's just be real here. I am just calling it for what it is and trying to simply manage expectations and warn others before they jump ship. Perhaps, I think it's only fair to do that. I've done my research on what servers should be better for people from Australia, and I have even rolled test characters on different servers, including Japanese and North American. And I don't know if it's my particular connection, just standard Australian NBN connection, or something else, I have no idea, but the ping of the Japanese data server was even worse for me than the American one, with the average response time being over 300 milliseconds, while American data servers respond with a fairly normal ping, kind of acceptable ping of about 170-180 milliseconds. However, it still all shows very poor connection, both in the character selection screen in the top right corner of the screen, and the performance that I'm seeing from the character's perspective when I log into the game is certainly unacceptable. It is nowhere near those 180, 170, whatever, even not 300 milliseconds that it should be. it acts more like it's 2000 plus milliseconds lag. The most important part that I wanted to bring to your attention and welcome discussion on is that I have a weird feeling that even a few weeks ago, by now 3-4 weeks ago, when I just started in Final Fantasy XIV, the performance felt better. It felt better than it feels right now, like last night when I was recording this particular footage that I'm reusing here. Could it be because of the additional hordes of players joining Final Fantasy XIV right now? I am not a network specialist. I do not know that. That's why I welcome your opinions on. And I also don't want to put it all on the sins of Asmongold and his crew that may or may not have followed him along and therefore it slammed the servers or some other similar congestion-based kind of issue. I don't know what it is, but in any case, as a person who is an adult, who is running a business, who is helping other businesses involved in production and delivery of certain online services professionally, I can tell you that having more people being interested in your digital service or a product or playing a game, as in this case, and potentially therefore subscribing and blah blah, all that, that is a very, very good problem to have these days for businesses. It is a very good problem to have, Square Enix included here. No, they are not a behemoth of Activision Blizzard, but they have certainly enough popularity, love from all of us now, and money to deal with this little problem, imagine me doing here air quotes. And they should simply invest into immediately jumping onto this problem and scaling up their server capability and capacity on their surely outsourced AWS or any other cloud infrastructure. Because nobody these days runs popular online games on a bunch of smoking servers somewhere in the back room of their office anymore. There is no such concept as a server room if you are anywhere near a modern level of business these days. Unless those people are literally insane. And I'm sure Yoshi P and co are very, very, very far from it. Anyway, it is a little emotional because I'm in love with the game. You know how you are in love and then you feel rejected. That's how I'm starting to feel right now, and this is my tiny tribune. I hope people who have spent more than 5 minutes watching my previous videos, they understand that I come only from the positive place, from trying to make my way through the game and welcome other people and help them in their kind of first steps in this game, for what it's worth. So I am a little, I am a bit emotional. I'm very disappointed. That's how I'm feeling about it. The more I want to play the game, the more I notice this degrading server performance daily, and I welcome your opinions on this. Oceanic data centers that they promised can't come soon enough. It needs to be prioritized. It needs to be launched before Endwalker, if you're asking me. It needs to be launched within the next couple of months if this is what we're seeing, not just me, but a lot of other people who are not necessarily in the areas right next to the American data server or Japanese data server. Surely if more than one person experiences this, and surely they are monitoring server performance on Square Enix side, they need to prioritize this accommodation. Why? Because as a business, they need to ride the wave of new influx of the newcomers into Final Fantasy XIV, and they need to accommodate us with a solid service, as well as the quality of the game. Quality of the game is great. Service sucks right now. I'm so sorry. Let's call it for what it is. It sucks. The only people who would be okay with this state of things and be like, ah well, WoW refugees, we didn't like you here anyway, bugger off, would be the gatekeepers that we've discussed enough in that Asmongold related video. I have nothing to say to those short-sighted individuals, except you are wrong and you are a massive part of the problem. I'll calm down a little bit. So what am I going to do with this latest discovery of game issues? Two things, and you might want to consider doing the same as a fresh WoW refugee new to the game, but it's up to you, obviously. First, I will try and find better time of the day to play, when the servers are less congested. It is a shame that I'm forced to play not when I want to play, but I'm forced to carve out bits and pieces of time instead of playing in prime time, as we would call it. It is not the service level that I am or will be comfortable to pay for. Second point, coming from this point number 1. Because I am not happy to pay for this level of service, I am not going to start my paid subscription to Final Fantasy XIV once this free initial period of time runs out following my 30 days grace period after purchasing of Endwalker expansion. I am going to then start a new account on a free trial, and keep playing through ARR and Heaven's Ward that I haven't even touched yet, so there is a plenty for me to do without any subscription whatsoever, in all honesty, and continue testing different jobs in action, which I've enjoyed doing so far as what to do in the game. My main account with Endwalker purchase attached to it will wait until Endwalker launches and until we hear some finally good news about Oceanic data service coming to us. And that is what I'm gonna do. Plus, there is Path of Exile New League, which I'm always going to play. And I was always going to play it in parallel to Final Fantasy XIV. I was not going to play Final Fantasy XIV exclusively, even though lately over these past few weeks, before the server stability became so sucky, I was playing Final Fantasy XIV almost exclusively. But now I'm going to probably switch my attention, play on a free trial during different times of the day. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna continue maintaining my contact with you, my dear audience, people who bother to support me, who take my criticism as well as praise for what it is. I am just a very honest player who, at the moment, I'm disappointed. I can't believe they're not doing anything about it, you know? That's all there is. What are your thoughts on all this? Are you affected by the server lag? And of course your life is different. Try and level with me, but your life is different if you're not, if you don't even know what I'm talking about. Like those lucky people in Japan or North America, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below the video, as I always like chatting to you, as long as you're not a troll. Like I said, I'm very disappointed with these new discoveries and the feeling like someone rejected me, that someone slammed on the brakes for me really hard in Final Fantasy XIV. And it has nothing to do with me not wanting to play. It has something to do with me wanting to play. I feel like the server setup is just not letting me, and it sucks. It sucks, there is no other way of saying it. Enough said, however, for today. That it is what it is. I'm still around, trying my best in Final Fantasy XIV. Tune in into the next few videos, because there are announcements for the new Path of Exile League happening, which I absolutely will be covering. Talk to you later. Stay safe in the meantime.